Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a very special edition of the Journeyman Football Manager with the Zebu Nation. What we're going to do here is we're going to go back in time and we're going to see what would have happened if I'd stayed with the Wolves during the final season of FM17, our final season in the Premier League before the new version of the game comes out. So I'm going to go back. I've played a bunch of games. We're going to play a very special game today. We're also going to talk about, what changes I made in the squad and things like that. But this is going to be kind of a two-part episode because we're also going to discuss Football Manager 18. And I'm going to start off with, all the new features and stuff they've announced. But then I think this is actually going to be a two-part series. We're going to release one video on Saturday, one video on Sunday, because the beta should be coming out around this weekend. I don't think it's been announced yet when it's coming out. Some people are speculating Thursday or Friday, so I'm going to hopefully get my hands on it Thursday or Friday and record some videos and get some videos out next week of FM18. But for now, for this weekend, it's going to be kind of a preview weekend. So we're going to talk about the new features in FM18 in this video, and then next video I'm going to talk about my plans for FM18 in terms of, what teams I'm going to play and all that kind of stuff. But before we get to that, let's go down the checklist, like we always do. We'll start out with the competitions. So last episode, we showed the season finale. Tottenham finished in 7th place. The Wolves finished in 8th place. Tottenham got to not the Champions League, but they got to the Euro Cup, and I never quite went through the offseason, but I didn't get fired for as long as I played. I didn't get fired from Tottenham. So I think they were going to give me at least one more season. It was probably going to be a season on the hot seat, but at least going to get one more season at Tottenham. So I decided to go back, see if I can do a little better with the Wolves, and so far we are. Currently the Wolves are in 7th place, but Tottenham is also doing a little better because they're in 6th place. So what we've got here is after 33 games, Wolves have 15 wins, 7 draws, 11 losses, a +3 goal differential, and 52 total points. So far we've done a little bit better than the computer did with us, but surprisingly Tottenham has done a little better under the computer control as well. So maybe I should have just stayed with the Wolves, because so far things are working out better for both teams. But anyway, we're going to see if we can finish higher than Tottenham. I doubt that we'll catch Liverpool because they're 11 points ahead of us, but you never know. But if we could finish in 6th place and get to the Champions League, that'd be pretty cool. I'd be very excited about that. So let's run down, take a look at our schedule here. It hasn't been a great run of form, honestly. We lost in the FA Cup to Burnley, which a team we should not have lost to, but I just sort of took that game for granted. I think I didn't even watch half the game. I was upstairs making dinner or something while the game was going on. I figured I had it won. And honestly, even after the game, I didn't even realize that I had lost the game. I thought that I'd won the game 1-0. That's how confident I was in that game. But obviously, I should have paid more attention. And then had a bit of a hangover there against Chelsea. Also lost to Derby, not happy about that. But lately we've gone on a little bit of an okay streak. In our last 5 games, we've got 3 wins, a draw, and a loss. Unfortunately, 2 of those wins were friendlies against French teams, so they don't really count. And that's because there was an international break in there, and I noticed my team was getting, was losing their match fitness pretty bad. So I had to throw in a couple of friendlies in there. So really, we're very tenuous here in our last few games. We beat Watford. We lost to Leicester, which we shouldn't have lost to, and then we had a draw against Liverpool, which is a good result, but not really what we wanted if we're gonna start making up some ground on these teams. And if you notice the schedule, Tottenham is up next. This is the game we're gonna show today. Just, a little bit of rivalry there. That's the team that wanted us, and, we decided not to go in this reality, in this version of the database. We decided to spurn them and stay at the Wolves. And now we're going to see if we can beat them. And we'll run down the checklist real quick. Finances, 35 million. We're still doing pretty well. You can see there was quite a dip here near the transfer window, and that's because we did go out and sign some transfers. We'll look at that in a minute. Board, very secure, much better than we were at Tottenham. 70% right now. The board's very happy with us. So there's no issues there. Confidence-wise, competitions, very happy. Club stature, finances, harmony, everything is looking pretty good. Team's fantastic overall performance in the Premier Division has been a particular highlight. So this shows the difference between Tottenham and the Wolves. Like, the Wolves are over the moon to be in 7th place, whereas Tottenham, that was like a huge disappointment for them. So, we're looking good that wise. Club stature, looking all right. Still 3.5 stars. That's, we've gained a half star since we took over the Wolves. So actually we've gained, I think the Wolves were 3 stars when we took over. Anyway, we've definitely been gaining stature for the Wolves as we're shooting our way up the Premier League. And now we'll get to transfers, transfer history, the big moves, the movers and shakers. Now, since the trade deadline, or the transfer deadline, I should say, we picked up a couple of players. Picked up from QPR, Connor Ronan, of course, an Irishman, 23 years old. We paid $20.5 million for him, and that broke the record for the largest transfer fee paid for an Irish player. So, we're really dipping into, some of the smaller countries that make up the United Kingdom. Wales, Ireland, Scotland, all those places. We're definitely dipping in there. We're grabbing a lot of their international players and trying to use as many resources as we can from around the United Kingdom. And he's a pretty good young player. He's got the potential to get a little better than he is right now. He could get 3.5 stars. I think we overpaid for him a little bit. But at the time, we were kind of desperate for midfielders and trying to make a splash in the market. And we had a lot of money laying around. So we picked this guy up, 17 free kicks, 15 dribbling. He's a very technically sound player. He's got very good mental attributes. Physically, he's not the greatest guy in the world, but he does have, pretty good pace. And, he's an attacking type player, and we need to score more goals. So hopefully he can help us do that. And then to balance him out, we got Jan Mavila from France, 30-year-old Frenchman. He's a defensive midfielder, also a central midfielder. He plays that box-to-box role that we like. But this guy is just, a savvy veteran, a 4-star player. He's a real sort of team leader type guy. He's got a lot of teamwork. He's got, pretty good skills, but he's a very good defensive player, marking, tackling. He's incredibly fit. He can run all day, especially for a 30-year-old. That's pretty good. So this is just another solid sort of building block kind of player, a guy you can rely on. Got him from Fulham for $6.75 million. And then the big signing, the thing that we really desperately needed this transfer window, was a striker. And we got Lucas Alario, 28-year-old Argentinian striker. He's an advanced forward. Plays in the attacking role. He's got 15 finishing, 16 composure. So he's just a goal scorer, which is what we need. We've got some pretty good support type strikers. We got the complete forward type guy. We got the defensive forward type guy, but we needed a goal scorer. So we went and got this guy from the Brazilian league. I think this is Portuguese league, SLB. And for $8 million, it's pretty good. We got a pretty good deal with him. He was kind of upset. He's valued at $12 million, so we got a pretty good deal for him. And he's been playing pretty well for us. In terms of the outgoing, not a lot happened. We let go of Noah Deco. Because we brought in another striker, we were able to let him go and, just let him get on with his career, honestly. He wasn't playing much for us at all. And he's been a very good servant to the club and all that, so we let him go for $1.5 million. And then Simone Gantz got very upset that we brought in another striker, so we had to try and get rid of him, and we loaned him out to Chivo We're getting a little bit of money for him, $145,000 per month as a loan fee for him. So, we're making some money off of him, and that's fine. We let go because we brought in all of those midfielders. We were able to let go of Connor Cody to Celtic or Celtic, however you want to pronounce it, for $8.5 million. That's a pretty good chunk of change for Connor Cody. And then we loaned out a couple of our youngsters. So, not bad. We spent a pretty good chunk of change, but we still have quite a bit left over in the finance. It's still $31 million in the transfer budget, so we got plenty of room to move next transfer window if there is one. And still got plenty of room in the payroll. Still got about 11 million left in the payroll budget, so we're financially sound. All right. Yeah, proceed to match. Here's our team. This is who we're going with. Mignolet, of course, in goal. Smith and Lopez at the fullbacks. Now we got some injuries here. Luke Garbett, our normal left fullback, is injured, so the young Mexican prospect here, George Lopez, is going to be playing quite a significant role for us. And he's had his problems with fouls and suspension, so we've had to really yell at this guy, really find this guy, and give him a mentor and a tutor and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully he's got that under control, because we're going to have to start relying on this young kid. And if not, we're going to have to start bringing in some of our other defenders to play that left fullback role. We are going with the diamond formation right now. I've experimented with a few other formations, but so far the diamond is still the most reliable. And it's in the central defense, we got Joris Gagnon and Alfie Mawson still holding down the central defense very well. There's Mavila. Moved him to the defensive midfielder role. 30 years old. That's kind of what happens to those 30-year-olds. They get dropped back, and back, and pretty soon he's going to be playing central defense. But for now, he's playing defensive midfielder. Another one of our recent signees, Farid Karimi, he was signed in the previous transfer window. He's been playing very well for us at the deep line playmaker role. Right now, we've got our young Irishman that we spent all that money for. Connor Ronan is playing the advanced playmaker in the midfield, and that's because John McGinn, our Scottish superstar, has been injured. He's going to be injured for several weeks, I think, if not months. Yeah, 3 to 4 weeks. So he is going to continue to be injured for quite a while, so we're going to have to rely on the young Irishman. And then, of course, Javi Molina at the advanced playmaker role in the advanced midfielder position. Yeah, that's right. I said those words correctly. He's he's our playmaker up front. We got to get him the ball so he can distribute to our two strikers, Alario, who I showed you in our new signee, and then Chuba Akpom. He's a guy who's been coming on lately. He's been improving, getting better. Let's look at his stats a little bit. His finishing is up to 12, which is pretty good. Passing, penalty taking. He's technically he's improving, and mentally he's very good, and physically he's still off the charts. 16 pace, 15 strength, 18 acceleration. This kid, this young Nigerian, I'm surprised he hasn't got more caps for Nigeria. He's only got 3 caps. I mean, he's a very good player, but I don't know what it is that maybe I guess the Nigerian team has enough strikers. I don't know. They're kind of known for their strikers. If watching World Cup and stuff like that is any indication, they've usually got pretty good strikers. So maybe he just doesn't fit into their plans. I don't know, but you'd think a Premier League player of his quality would be playing more for his national team. But whatever. Then on the bench, we got the Blake brothers, Mason and Keith. We got Corey Whalen, our other Irishman, House. House is in and out of the starting lineup. He's been playing some at left back, at left central defense. He's kind of, all over the place. Same with Ben Sheaf, our multi-dimensional player, youngster, still only 23 years old. He's a guy who can play up and down the field at every position. Callum McGregor, our other Scotsman, right? Yes, our other Scotsman. And then Diamantakos, our Greek striker, is our utilitarian guy. He's played out some on the left wing for us when we've gone to a wing formation, and plays that defensive striker role for us, in case you forgot. But anyway, let's submit that team. And let's play against Tottenham. But while we go through our game with Tottenham, I'm going to discuss FM18. And I've watched the videos of FM TV that they put out, those little sort of, I want to call them slickly produced, but I don't know that they're all that slickly produced. But, for what they're doing, for a little TV series on a video game, they're pretty slickly produced. I mean, they're better than what any streamer could do, I think. But still, they're just sort of a guy talking in front of a screen at the end of the day. Anyway, I've watched those videos countless times now. We're going to close down on Callum Chambers. He's a dangerous dude. I've watched those videos countless times. So we're going to sort of go over them one by one and talk about the different things that are going on in Football Manager 18. First up they mentioned was dynamics. Now this looks like it's going to change a lot to do with the game, especially how you build your teams, how you disassemble your teams, I think is also going to be very important, because they now have groups and they have like a pyramid of leadership and pyramid of sort of influence. So you're going to have to really take into account the squad dynamics when you're assembling and disassembling your teams, because you don't want to break up a core group, and you don't want to make a core group mad by getting rid of one player or by insulting a team leader, things like that. But now the good news is all that stuff is going to be much more spelled out. There's going to be a whole page that's just dedicated to squad dynamics, so that's going to be very cool. Like I mentioned, there's the pyramid. There are team leaders now at all levels of your squad. So there's sort of like the top-end team leaders that influence the whole team. There are influencers within each subgroup, and then there are also like potential leaders, like young players who could become leaders if you turn the squad over to them, that kind of thing. And then these dynamics are going to affect your match day. They currently do. They currently affect your match day. But now I think it's going to be much more out in the open of how and why your team is playing better or worse based on your squad dynamics. Because now you can track three main atmospheres, or three main areas. There's team cohesion, which is basically like how well do your guys play together as a team. And that's going to be very important, because they said it'll actually affect your attributes, especially your mental attributes. I don't know if exclusively your mental attributes, maybe exclusively your mental attributes, but definitely it's going to affect your mental attributes. The guy in the video talked about like it'll improve your passing stats and things like that. So that team cohesion is going to really affect gameplay. It's going to be like another form of match readiness in a way. So, a team with greater cohesion, I think, could play above its station, could play above its ratings. Then there's locker room atmosphere. Oh, we let a goal in. There's Dele Alli scoring on us. That's no good. Yeah. So yeah, your locker room atmosphere is going to be kind of like it seems like in FM17, where you're going to, make some guys upset and, they'll showery. You make some guys upset, and, it can mess with your squad dynamics, and people are going to want to leave and all that kind of stuff. But it's going to be more spelled out, and it's going to be more available for you to look and see what the problem is and how to fix the problem. I think that'll be the big update for this. And then finally, there's managerial support. Oh, here we go. Breakaway. Molina is getting forward. He's got the goalkeeper on a string. Misses the shot, though. Nice save. They didn't talk too much about managerial support, but it seems like that's going to be how much support you have from the club and from the fans and from the players and all that kind of stuff. So the more like promises you keep, and the more goals you reach, that kind of stuff, your managerial support will go up, and you'll be able to do things like make more demands to the club and all that kind of stuff. And again, this stuff is in the game currently. It's just now it's going to be more spelled out and easier to see what's going on. All right, come on, boys. You can do much better than that. All right, so then we'll go to scouting. We'll try to run through these a little quicker because we took the whole first half there. Scouting, huge changes to scouting. Now you've got a scouting budget specifically for scouting, and it takes away from budgets from other areas of your team. Right now the scouting budget is kind of nebulous. How much does it cost to scout? It doesn't matter whether you scout the whole world and spend a bunch of money or not. It doesn't really tell you. The board doesn't seem to care. All they do is they can adjust your scouting range, but they sort of determine what that budget is. But now you can do that. You've got more control over the scouting budget. And there are packages that you can buy, scouting packages. And that's how you determine the size of your database of players. And that's going to be a little bit more, I think, of a hindrance to people who don't like the scouting aspect. I don't know if you can just turn this completely off or not. All right, so we got Connor Ronan is making some issues here. We'll take a little break here at the 60-minute point. We got several yellow cards. Of course, our defense is all full of yellow cards. Who's not playing well? Lopez not playing well. Molina, nobody is really playing well up front. So we're going to bring in House for Lopez. We're going to bring in... See, Ronan's not playing well. He's frustrated. Molina's also not playing well. We can only substitute one of those guys. So I think we will substitute for Ronan. Bring in McGregor. He can play that advanced playmaker role pretty well. And then I'm going to use my third substitute as well. Bring in Sheaf for Smith. Just to give us a little extra speed and dynamism out there on the wings and get those yellow cards out of the game. Get as many yellow cards out of the game as we can. All right. So yeah, you got scouting packages now that determine the size of your database, and the database is going to restrict people who don't like the scouting. Because I don't know if you're going to have full access to all the players the way you do, where you can do now if you turn off that option. But they might keep that option in to say just turn off the scouting and just have a free time looking at everybody. Ooh, that could have been a goal there. But I like this idea of, you've got your own personal database of players, and it doesn't include everybody in the league, in the world. It only includes who you've scouted and who you've bought packages on. Like you can buy packages on certain leagues, certain continents. There's a goal. Oh my God, how did he miss that? How did he miss that? Assertive, concentrate, boys. Concentrate. Mavila gets it up to Ilario. Ekpom, this is your chance to shine. Back to Ilario. Long shot, no good. Ekpom gets it. There it is. There it is, boys. Told you to concentrate, and now you're concentrating. Even though the talk just went in just now, they knew what I was going to say. So there we tied it up versus Tottenham. This is an important game, by the way. We're, 6 points down from Tottenham. So if we win this game, we're only 3 points down. Nice shot, nice save, but nice put back of the rebound by Akpom. All right. So the final part of the scouting is the data analyst. You're going to be able to give your data analyst and your scouts specific instructions to say, we want these kind of players, just look for these kind of players, and that's going to be a huge change. I thought the scouting, currently, they go out and scout whatever they want, regardless of of what your needs and wants are. A lot of times, I'm promising the board that I'm going to be, finding young players and playing and scouting young players. Dang it. El Shaari to Lawan. That I'm going to be playing and scouting young players, but then my scouts never do that on their own. They only do it if I specifically tell them to do that. So now you can kind of set up those roles permanently and say, we're looking for these kind of players, just go after those kind of players. All right, now let's move on to tactics. There's a new tactics screen that's basically it lets you see the graphical representation and the list representation of your team at the same time, which is very nice. And it'll also let you see things on the page like your dynamics, so you can see which players are playing together, who's playing well together, who's playing poorly together, all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to see, more stats, and it'll bring in more of your data analyst type information on that screen, so you can see beforehand, like before you make your lineup, how your team is playing and who should be starting and that kind of stuff. Who's in the best form. So all that stuff should be more improved. And then the other big change seems to be prior to the match. They're changing up the screens and, like what kind of information you get and what kind of information you can give to your team, mainly via the pre-game talks. So you can have strategic talks with your team pre-game and say, look, we want you to play this style and close down on this guy and all that kind of stuff. And it looks like that stuff is going to be much more important to have put together pre-match, and actually have a game plan for your match and say, this is how we're going to play. And then the team talks is where you communicate that to your players. They're just trying to make it, I think, a little bit more realistic. So there we go. For tactics, it's going to be including more of the stuff. It's going to be more of the dynamics, more of the team talks, all that kind of stuff is going to be included in tactics. Sports science is another thing they went through. There's going to be a new medical center page. It's going to have all your injuries and risk assessments and all kinds of stuff, like all the information now that you kind of got to search for and hunt for and try to figure out who's injured and how long they're injured and all that stuff. They're going to have it now on an actual dedicated medical page. So that's a big change. And then your sports scientists are actually going to do something this season, it seems like. And you'll be able to actually get a risk assessment from them on each player and on your team to be able to say, look, this guy's got a high risk of being injured. Maybe you shouldn't play him, or maybe you should back off on his training, that kind of stuff. So that's going to be a huge help to try and help you avoid injuries if you've got the sports scientists. Get it forward, McGregor. Nice play, nice play. Ekpom, you can get there. Come on, buddy. Cannot beat Dyer. Dyer's too good back there. That was a bad pass, though. Gets it to Molina. Molina. Corner kick. All right. So there we go. There's a sports scientist. Then they went over the fantasy draft, which I'm not really interested at all. I've never done it. I don't plan on ever doing it. But I was really interested in the screens they showed and a lot of the new. There's the goal. Come on, get past him. A lot of the new features in the fantasy draft, because what I'm hoping is that they'll bring those features along to the MLS drafts and all the different drafts that go on in MLS, that they'll just use these screens and these new features to improve the MLS draft, because really right now the MLS draft, the features within it are not very good. The trading is very clunky and bunky. And, just figuring out who's been drafted and all that kind of stuff. It's not very well laid out. So hopefully they've thought a little bit about that, and just hopefully this improvement on the fantasy draft will improve the actual MLS draft. Next, they've got the match day experience, which the big news there, of course, is the upgrade in the match engine. We lost 2-1. All right. So not happy about that. Don't be harsh after that. The result wasn't ideal. I don't know about that. I don't know. You were the underdogs. You gave it your best effort. So it looks like we're probably going to finish the same way this year as we finished last year. One spot behind Tottenham. Not going to be looking too good. But I'll finish out my thoughts on FM18 here. The matchday engine is going to be, much improved. And as you just saw in this video, we like to use the matchday engine. I don't do the 2D stuff. I'm all about the 3D, so any improvements to that is fine. They're going to have more cutscenes that show you like more of the stadium and the surroundings of the stadium. I like that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff just adds a little bit more atmosphere to the game, a little bit more, storytelling and that kind of stuff to the game. Anything they can do to improve that is very good. And also the stadiums are going to have more variety of stadiums, more features within the stadiums. Not just the hamburger vendors, but hopefully they'll have other stuff going on as well. Maybe some people like walking around, maybe some cars in the parking lot. I don't know. But anything they can do to make the stadium seem more authentic and just a better match day experience, I think is fine with me. And then finally, sort of what I thought was the low-key biggest announcement they made was the football intelligence announcement that they made, which means basically improvement to the AI. And not just the match day AI, which they said is also going to be improved, players on the pitch, but also the back room stuff, the larger overall, like if this was a strategy game, we would call that the strategy layer is going to get an AI improvement. So basically, teams are going to build their squads a little bit more intelligently, or hopefully a lot more intelligently. They're going to be going after players in a more intelligent manner in terms of building their roster, not just for the short term, but for the long term. They're going to be looking at players within their caliber, right? So if they're a 5-star Premier League, Champions League team, they're going to be looking for Champions League quality players and also young players who could grow into Champions League quality players. But at the same time, the lower league teams are going to be looking for players at their level. So basically, at every level of the game, you're going to have more competition from your AI opponents, in the transfer market. And hopefully this also translates to the MLS and they'll improve the trade market and the trade value and make that, I was able to manipulate that just through bugs in the game in my MLS saves, but hopefully they'll be able to have an actual real trading policy and things like that in the MLS so that you can make more and better trades and more and better transfers. It's basically what everybody is looking for. Oh yeah, there's another thing that they're gonna have, like sort of a minor thing, but again, it's interesting for the world building and the storytelling is the reactions to the things that you do from the owner, from the media, from the fans. All that stuff is gonna be more tailored to what you actually do. So it's more than just, you make a signing and such tweets about it or whatever. It's actually going to have some effects on some of the other parts of the game, like the dynamics and like, your support from, like we mentioned in the dynamics part, your support from management, support from fans, all that stuff is going to tie in together with this new AI intelligence. So they're going to comment on it more in the press, and your board is going to be a little bit more nuanced in how they deal with you. Hopefully, that's what they touted. So hopefully, that's going to come true in FM18. So there we go. There are our thoughts on the upcoming FM18. Now, the next video I'm going to talk about what my specific plans are for FM18, and then we'll probably show you the end of this season here and see where the Wolves finish out. Do the Wolves get to the Continental competition or not? Champions League or bust for the Wolves. After that loss, we got a long way to go here. The schedule is not looking too friendly for us. Only 5 games left. We got Arsenal coming up, but then we got Stoke, Bournemouth, and Brentford, 3 beatable teams. So can we make up enough points in the last 4 games? Difficult, but not impossible. So until next time, until tomorrow, hopefully, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.